What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Monday, reacting to one of the worst offensive games and one of the worst games overall in the Mike Vrabel era as the Titans lose 27-3 to the Cleveland Browns on Sunday in Cleveland. And it might have been even worse than what the score made it look like as we react to a lot of ugly, bad football the Titans played Sunday in the state of Ohio. We're going to ask you guys, what was the biggest problem the Titans had in that loss to the Browns? We'll go through that. We'll hear Mike Vrabel had some colorful language and interesting responses when it comes to his post-game press conference. I'm going to sound off on something that I think has completely blown up in the Titans' face in the worst way possible. Zach, me and you, this is the first time in a long time that neither of us have done the post-game show. So we're coming into Monday morning hot, baby, without any type of release. And then we'll have some fun towards the end of the show with our age game that we do on Mondays. But my gosh, what a week it's going to be as we kick off this week. Titans are 1-2, and the only 2-1 winning record team in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts. So there's a lot to be played here in the AFC South. But Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. We're going to have a good show this morning, that's for sure.
Yeah, broadcasting only on YouTube this morning because Facebook
and Twitch.
And we are on Twitch as well, but we will Facebook out the YouTube link on our Facebook page. You know, Facebook, you ever been in like Facebook jail for no reason? I feel like that's kind of where we are. So Zuckerberg hadn't called me back, though. I have called him, but he has not called me back. So regardless, the beat moves on, and we got you covered on YouTube. So all of our YouTubers, it's going to be lit today. You got a lot to talk about, a lot to get to, and a lot to discuss. We will tweet out these YouTube links, one link at a time, segment by segment. So we got you covered there over on Twitter/X at A to Z Sports. The Browns with a beatdown over the Tennessee Titans. We're going to cover it all. Let's get this party started after everybody likes and it eventually comments when we ask you all the questions here live on a Monday morning.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on YouTube. Hopefully Facebook back soon. Also Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline at A to Z Sports. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you guys, like Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go for your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's fbhp.com/ATOZ. And with the Aura app, keeping you safe online, aura.com/ATOZ. Use that link for a 2-week free trial. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in Middle Tennessee, in Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro, online at KrebsKubota.com. Wow. All right. Titans lose to the Browns in the most awful fashion they possibly could have. 27-3, the final score. Just to go through some stats to make it all worse. Derrick Henry, 11 carries for 20 yards. The Titans only ran for 26 yards on the day, averaging 1.7 yards per carry. Ryan Tannehill threw for 104, but his 36 sack yards bring the Titans' passing yards down to 68, where the Tennessee Titans had under 100 yards net of total offense, while Deshaun Watson had his get-right game, only 6 incompletions, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. Sure, the Titans stopped the Browns' running game without Nick Chubb, but they couldn't stop Amari Cooper or Myles Garrett, who had 3.5 sacks on Ryan Tannehill on Sunday. Zach, it was a complete abomination. So I will give you an opening statement before we get to Mike Vrabel's opening statement in his post-game press conference.
Well, it got down to the point where both sides just called it quits, right? Yep. They pulled Deshaun Watson. They pulled Ryan Tannehill. They weren't running their offense at the end of the game. They conceded. And when you get to a point in an NFL game like the Denver Broncos yesterday and you concede. Now, it wasn't a 70-point blowout, but it was a blowout. And the Titans should be embarrassed and ashamed of what they put on that field with Derrick Henry as their best player. Ineffective, obsolete. And there is also a problem with that, is that at one point, if your best player is obsolete and can't help your football team, you're probably going to lose. And there is a stat that I will bring up later on in the show that I think justifies why they lost. I think it is very telling. But Mike Vrabel should be a little ticked off after that performance, as his whole family and Ohio guy was there in person. That's not a product you want to put in front of any sort of fan, especially Titans fans. The Browns fans, the dog pound, had a hell of a time because all of their players, Amari Cooper, as you mentioned, Deshaun Watson, Ford was honestly, he replaced Nick Chubb pretty well. Myles Garrett, all of their figures that they are paying so much money to came to play, and they beat the Titans down.
Yeah, they sure did. All right, so let's hear from Mike Vrabel, who was asked a couple times about what happened in that game. Here is Mike Vrabel, the Titans head coach.
In every phase, you can start with me and go all the way down. That's whether it was coaching, whether it's our pass rush, their O-line, their ability to hit some plays down the field, penalties, every category. It's going to be the same thing for each one. It's important for us to stick together. You play like that in this league, you coach like this in this league, you get your ass beat. Plain and simple. We'll be back. We're going to get back to work. I know that it's disappointing, but it's what happens when you perform and coach like that.
Yeah, it's what happens when you perform like that in the NFL. You get your ass beat. That's from Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel has constantly said, need to coach better, need to play better. Hell, there's a guy in my Twitter mentions every Titans game day where they lose with the Twitter handle, coach better, play better. And Paul Karski asked Vrabel what the theme of that, and if Titans players still respond to got to coach better, got to play better. Here's what Vrabel had to say there.
You tend to hit that theme after losses. Does it resonate with the staff, with the players?
And you'd have to ask them right when you walk in there. Go ask them, Paul. And what resonates is that we're going to compete, just like we have for a lot of years, and we'll get written off. This isn't like some kind of motivational speech. It's just what happens in this league, and we're going to have to come back. We'll have to have a great week of practice, figure out who we have available, and get back to work and figure out a way to win a game at home. And so point out the things that we need to work on, get them fixed right away, and keep going. It's a long season, but we're focusing on this week.
So that's basically copy and paste or cut and paste from every Mike Vrabel losing press conference over the last couple of seasons, right? It's, got to identify what went wrong, fix it as fast as we possibly can, see who's healthy, and go out there and try to win the next week. And look, he's not wrong to have that approach, but I do feel like deaf ears is where it's falling on the fan base. And hopefully, if you're a Titans fan, you want to make sure that it's not falling on deaf ears inside the locker room. And players like Jeffrey Simmons and Derrick Henry and the rest of this roster, the leaders on this team, can try to pull them out of this, because yesterday was as bad as it looked, really. I mean, the Titans play in a league where the Miami Dolphins scored 70 points yesterday, and the team that gave up 70 points at least scored 20. The Titans are sitting here in 2 out of 3 games without an offensive touchdown so far this season. It's that awful. But here we are again, and the Titans are trying to find the way out of a familiar problem.
That is the Tennessee Titans in a nutshell. I mean, what else do you want to say? That's what they've been. That's who they are. That's who they're going to be. Until they get some different players and different coaching philosophy, that's just what it is. And coaching philosophy in the sense of the offensive scheme. That's what we're talking about. Mike Vrabel, the reason why he's regarded as such a good head coach is he gets the most out of his players. When yesterday he couldn't get anything out of his players, the bounce back is what Mike Vrabel, I feel, is good at as a head coach. But Austin, here I think is a bigger issue. The locker room, just based on the videos that we put out and that other reporters were in after the Browns loss, I do think that the 7-game losing streak of last year is carried over a little bit. The feeling, it was, good for them to be able to watch a win, create a win at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. But I felt like that quickly died when you play as bad as they did yesterday. I mean, 3 points is pathetic in this league. And really, it was 3 points in 3.5 quarters because, as I mentioned, that half the fourth quarter, they weren't going to score.
Oh, man. Zach, I don't know. You said you have a stat you're going to show out there later on. I have a couple stats in my back pocket. Here's one of them. The Titans' only scoring drive, they actually lost 9 yards.
Yeah, they did. Because when did they started on the Browns?
They started
17?
in the red zone. In the red zone.
I believe it was the 17.
That's the second time the Titans in 3 games have gotten a fumble in the red zone, lost yards to just kick a field goal. The second time already this season. Amani Hooker and Sean Murphy-Bunting doing all they can
trying
to get this Titans offense a touchdown before giving up touchdowns themselves, to then just get a field goal after losing yards. All right, so yes, we are having some problems on Facebook. So new YouTube people, we appreciate you guys making the move over.
Hit the subscribe button
right now. Yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button as well, hit the thumbs up because we need that there as we try to work through some of our Facebook issues that happen for no reason on Friday afternoon. But let's go ahead and ask the audience this question, because I also see Anthony. I see you in the chat coming after me. Now I have favorited your comments. I will address those here later on. But to stick on our script for this show, we want to ask you guys, what was the Titans' biggest problem in the 27-3 loss to the Browns on Sunday? What was the Titans' biggest problem in the loss to the Browns on Sunday? But first, Krebs Kubota, no problem at all. When you're looking for equipment out there, you need to go to Krebs Kubota because they are an elite Kubota dealer in Middle Tennessee with 3 amazing locations. That's Murfreesboro, Franklin, and in Columbia. The website is KrebsKubota.com. It's a great website. You should go check it out. For whatever your equipment needs are, you need to find in Krebs Kubota and build a relationship with them, because that is their goal for you. Because having a relationship with your equipment provider is crucial, because you're using a lot of energy, a lot of force, things break, you're moving dirt a lot of the times. And so you need to make sure you have that strong relationship with Krebs Kubota, and they're an elite Kubota dealer, which means you get the best equipment and the best warranties in the entire equipment industry online at KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. Download the app today. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports. You got 2 games on the docket tonight, and fire them cannons. I'll go ahead and tell you that. Baker and the 2-0 Bucks, host the early matchup against the Eagles. You can get on some good action there. Up to $1,500 back in bonus bet if your first bet misses. For new users, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, Zach, I asked the question. I'll send you to the chat. What was the biggest problem in the Titans' 27-3 loss to the Browns on Sunday?
All right, let's scroll back up. We've had a ton of comments. Let's see here.
Even just the YouTube comments are bringing in 100+ comments in about a minute and a half. Yeah.
We'll start with something that we'll talk about later. Caleb says the biggest problem is Dillard taking coaching from Myles Garrett. It's hilarious. Eddie says, Austin, Zach are absolutely right. Blow this up. Tired of seeing it week after week. That's probably going to be a topic that we'll talk about later on throughout the course of the season, of when that is going to happen. Things only last for so long. Steven says, Henry is pissed. And did y'all see how he answered the questions yesterday? Well, I'd be upset too, right? If I was Derrick Henry and had 11 carries for 20 yards with a long of 9.
Going into the fourth quarter, Derrick Henry had 4 carries for -7. No, I'm sorry. It was at the end of the half. 4 carries for -7.
Look, Jason brings up something that I want to touch on as well. It says it was the pass rush also. Big Jeff could not get a pass rush. Defense was slow. Pass protection was garbage. Jason brings up something that I noticed.
Yeah.
How much are the Tennessee Titans paying Harold Landry?
Oh, a lot, because they just gave him a restructure, and he made $31 million before even playing a snap this season off that new contract. And I noticed that too, Zach, is that Landry, there was a play that Watson completed a pass on where Landry, both ends, Landry and Key ran games to the inside. Keys got picked up. Landry had a gap to get through, but he didn't just explode through it like he used to have. There was some hesitancy there. And I was like, that's probably still some of that mental, rehab of the ACL of needing to explode through traffic to get to the quarterback, where he had a little bit of hesitancy, and Deshaun Watson completed a pass. So look, I don't think the pass rush was the reason why the Titans lost, or even close to the biggest reason, because they got after Deshaun Watson. They just couldn't get him down. Like there were Arden Key let him out. Jeff let him out of one. I think Roger McCreary let him out.
They're paid to get him down.
Sure, but the pass rush was creating pressure. The problem was Deshaun Watson got right in a game that the Titans continued to give him mulligans. Like he threw the ball backwards about 25 yards, and the Titans bailed them out of that, and it scored a touchdown a few plays later. Like Deshaun Watson should have been sacked more times than just 3, but the Titans could not finish those plays. And I'm keeping Harold Landry's play on my watch for sure.
Ramad's kind of tired of this. He says, "Glad I can come to a place where fans are delusional. Tired of being called fake fan because I point this BS out. I love this team, but damn, that's some bad football yesterday. That was some of the worst football, Austin, with their players. That has to be noted. We've seen some football over the last couple of years due to injury where Tannehill wasn't playing, or Derrick Henry wasn't playing, or they didn't have anybody to throw to, or their defense, something was going on with their defense. That was not the case yesterday. Everybody was playing. You had your starters. You had everybody that was cashing that paycheck out there on the field, and they're playing bad football, as Ramad brings up. And I think that's the struggle here. So the question that we asked is, what's the Titans' biggest problem in the 27-3 loss? I mean, we got everything: coaching, no offensive line, Dillard, who we'll get to from Darius, the line, offensive line, everything, offensive line, O-line. Tighten up, says O-line, no protection from run left, number 71 from Nick Martinez. Offensive line play, couldn't run block or pass protect. So overwhelming, Yuri's bringing up Tim Kelly. We've got a lot of everythings. I mean, it's offensive line is the leader in the clubhouse, or Dillard, Daily 2.0.
Yeah. Man, you can get better protection from trying to walk out of Dillard's without taking a little clip off of the pants at the mall. But so Zach, do you want to go first? Because I'm going to go with offensive line, and I want to expand on the offensive line conversation. So do you want to go first? I'm not sure exactly where you're going to go with the biggest problem that the Titans had in that loss yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you where I'm going to go.
Okay.
The biggest problem in the loss was the exact same problem in the New Orleans Saints loss. Austin, I brought this up after game 1 on Reaction Monday after they lost to the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to ask you a question to test the old memory bank. Okay. How many offensive touchdowns did they score week 1?
0.
How many offensive touchdowns did they score yesterday?
0.
What was their third down percentage after week 1 against the New Orleans Saints?
Percentage, I don't know, but I remember it was around 2 for 12 against the Saints, something like that.
Bingo, bango. All right, I'm going to ask you a follow-up.
Okay.
What do you think their third down percentage was yesterday?
I don't even know if they had 12 third down opportunities. So I'm going to say they did. Was it 2 for 12?
Ding, 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 ding.
No
ding.
kidding.
2 for 12. No offensive touchdowns. 2 conversions on third down off of 12 attempts. Guys, there's your recipe. I'll tell you how to lose a football game. And it's to go 2 for 12 on third down. Third down are key moments in the game, and they were unable to do much of anything. They were 1 for 1 on 4th down, but you're 2 for 12. Look how many punts that is. That's giving the opponent the ball back constantly. 2 for 12. I can do some quick math, and we don't do math on air that often. That's 4 for 24 in both of their losses. You can't win, guys. So, you could talk about the offensive line. You could talk about Derrick Henry and being obsolete, or Ryan Tannehill not making the plays that need to happen, them not being able to sack Deshaun Watson or take advantage of turnovers. But the fact of the matter is that when you go 2 for 12 on the most crucialest down in football,
the money down.
That's the money down. And
for both sides.
They went bankrupt.
Yeah. So
that's the case.
Look, those are hell of a stats. I've got more stats to kind of take that further. We're asking you guys, what was the biggest problem for the Titans in that loss to the Browns on Sunday? What was the biggest loss or the biggest problem the Titans lost to the Browns on Sunday? Zach says third down, lack of conversions, 2 of 12. I'll get to mine here in a second. As we a reminder, just everybody, we are having some Facebook problems, so only streaming on YouTube. If you found yourself on YouTube from Facebook, we appreciate you guys. We're trying to do our best and sharing the link to get the Facebook audience over here. But Zach, go ahead and tell us about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, Farm Bureau Health Plan is not going for 2 for 12. I'll tell you that. Farm Bureau Health Plan actually gives you the security that you need. FBHP.com/A to Z is where to go to get your health plan. I got my health plan a couple of years ago. I'm really glad that I did. I carry it over. It gets taken out of my bank account, and it's not as much as was being taken out of my bank account with a different health plan. Get a quote today by you answer a field of questions, take a health assessment, they give you a quote, and then you decide ultimately if the plan is right for you. The plan was right for me and my family. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. Health, dental, vision, they got you covered. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
Also with BetMGM, they're giving you multiple ways to win as a new user. You can always sign up with our big code, bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's your first bet offer to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. But if you don't want to go big with that first bet, no sweat, because you can use our code ATOZ200, and all you have to do is place a $10 moneyline wager on any pro football team to win. That's a $10 moneyline wager for any pro football team to win, and you get $200 back in bonus bets instantly, regardless of that moneyline wager. That's with code ATOZ200. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and other requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued to knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Asking everybody, what was the Titans' biggest problem in that 27-3 loss to the Browns yesterday? I find it hell ironic that the Titans were both 2 and 12 on third down against the Saints and against the Browns. So my answer is the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans, because if you look at the differences between weeks 1 and 3 in the losses, where no touchdowns were scored, in week 2, where the Titans put up 27 points. Now they needed overtime to get to 27. The difference is the average distance to go on third down. Against the Chargers, they were averaging around like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 on their third down attempts, and they were able to convert a lot more third downs to keep drives going and then to allow points to be scored. Well, when you're stuck in average of 3rd and 9, that's where you go 2 of 12 on third down. And the offensive line is who to blame for this, because not were they just awful at protecting Ryan Tannehill. And we're going to talk about Andre Dillard because he deserves his own segment, guys. So we're going to get to that. But how about this stat, Zach? Derrick Henry, average yards before contact, negative 2.3 yards. I'll say it one more time. Derrick Henry's average yards before contact was negative 2.3 yards. That means on average, Derrick Henry was getting hit 7 feet behind the line of scrimmage every time he touched the football. That's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. He's barely getting out of his lined up spot before the snap. He's basically making it from where he lines up in an I formation. He's making it halfway to the line of scrimmage, which is usually where the mesh point is with the quarterback to get the handoff before he gets touched. So I'll tell you another stat. That means Derrick Henry averaged 4 yards after contact on Sunday to get to 1.7 yards per carry. That is a complete joke. The Titans offensive line is going to sink this season if they haven't already, or if it continues to go this direction, because that is putrid of an offensive line performance. Not even getting to the point that Ryan Tannehill had 0 shot to complete downfield passes for the majority of games. Did Tannehill miss a couple open opportunities? Yes, he did. There was a couple scrambles where Burks was open, inaccurate throws. There were some drops by Chig. Burks had a drop. Other players could not do it. D-Hop is probably the only offensive player that you can say went out there and played as well as he possibly could have. And Derrick Henry, it's not his fault either, outside of maybe a bad cutback on a toss play. But still, like, the Titans offensive line is the core of the entire issue with this football team.
How much is Peter Skoronski not being in there playing a part of that?
He's their best offensive lineman.
And that's crazy to say. I'm asking, week 3 about a rookie that's played one professional game, but he also is a first-round pick, right? He's a top 11 pick, and they looked like they missed him yesterday.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, you're already sitting here before you even get to the month of October I feel the need to start playing some musical chairs with the offensive line, because they have been that bad in a couple spots.
But they fixed it, right? I mean, they got new players. They replaced them. They we're not dealing with the same guys. Why are these players playing just as bad as the players did last year?
Because it was the approach in the offseason. And I you can go read Sam's article. I'm going to go ahead and grab the link right here, because Sam nailed it in his post-game article that went out yesterday, and a lot of people have read it. And so I'll post it right there on YouTube to you guys in the chat. The Titans' biggest offseason gamble has already blown up in their face, because it was giving Andre Dillard a 3-year contract, making an average of $9 million a year, to be your left tackle solution. And he gave up. Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks yesterday. I don't know statistically if all 3.5 of those were on Andre Dillard, but a lot of them were. And Andre Dillard gave up 3 sacks against the Chargers in week 2, and they won. So there is a problem with the offensive line. And just because you changed out the offensive line and you have 5 people at different positions compared to last year, doesn't mean it was fixed. It was just changed. Like, you can try to clean up poop off the floor if you poop on the floor, but if you don't get it up and you just smear it everywhere, the problem's not any better.
Okay, let's. Okay.
I mean, the analogy checks out, though.
Yeah, I would choose a different analogy.
I mean, it works. You get the point.
But we'll get to the super chats here in a second. I think for what the Titans represent, though, Austin, one of the main reasons why the Cleveland Browns beat them down yesterday is that everybody and their mother knows how to beat the Tennessee Titans. The script is out. You build a lead and you make them pass the football. That's exactly what the Browns did. They took away Derrick Henry by building a lead, and the Browns defense has some damn good players on it, especially pass rush. And what did you see? The Titans down by 10 plus points. They pin their ears back and they just attack. And you're going to pass on 3rd down, and you're going to go 2 for 12 on 3rd down because they have offensive line problem. But the fact is that the Browns knew what the Titans were going to do, and the Titans can't stop it. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of teams, especially the Titans, but not a lot of teams can stop a pass rush like the Cleveland Browns when they know that all they're trying to do is sack the quarterback.
Well, and us, look, this is a weird thing I'm about to say after the Titans' offensive performance, but I got to give a little bit of credit to the Titans' offense, because they are the only team through 3 weeks that has moved the football into the red zone against this Browns defense. Now, they got 0 points out of it. 0 points out of it, but the Bengals never got in the red zone. The Steelers never got in the red zone. They won that game because they had 2 defensive touchdowns and a big touchdown play, I believe, to George Pickens on Monday night. But the Titans offense, the only team to ever move the football into the red zone through 3 full games against the Browns defense, but 0 points. And we're going to get to that here in a second.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It's actually, these are eye-opening of what I think the stats that we've both brought up today and why it goes to third down conversions, and your stat goes to their best player, Derrick Henry, or lack thereof. And it's caused by when he's getting hit, and he's getting hit before he gets to the line of scrimmage because the offensive line can't block. So we do have a ton of super chats. Let's get to those because there's some that I'm actually curious about.
There's so many super chats and a lot of favorite things I'm going to get to too, because people are coming after me for something I said last week. But first, Aura can keep you safe online. If you want to stay safe and protect your digital profile, Aura is the place to go. We're giving you a 2-week free trial for Aura services with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. Aura identifies data brokers who are profiting and selling your information to telemarketers, robocallers, and spammers. Well, in just 5 or 6 days, Aura got rid of 30 data brokers who are holding and selling my information to those telemarketers. And I don't get spam calls anymore. I honestly don't. And I get less emails that are just immediately to the junk section in my email inbox every day. Or it can do that same thing for you. And we're giving you a 2-week free trial. It just took 5 or 6 days for 30 data brokers to be out of my life. So a 2-week free trial gives you a lot of opportunity to do that. Plus learn about other features that Aura has, like password manager and protector, credit and identity theft monitoring as well. So use our link, aura.com/ATOZ for a 2-week free trial. Once again, aura.com/ATOZ.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM. I talked about the Bucs-Eagles game. Then after that, don't forget about Bengals, the Joe Burrow and company trying to get off their losing streak. 0-2. They play the Rams tonight. These 2 sneaky good matchups. So you can get in on the action with BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so Zach, you want to get to some super chats? I have not had a chance to pre-read the super chats. If you want to, go ahead and get to them. You said you had a couple that were piquing your interest.
Well, I guess it's based on what you had said last week. Let's go with Curtis, then we'll go with Anthony.
Oh, so do you want to get to the Jim Schwartz stuff real quick? We can do that now if you want. Let me send a tweet out because we need to address this about this Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, we might as well. I didn't hear what you said, so now you look. This is you. Everybody has their day in court. You say a lot of things on the show. We hold everybody accountable, no matter what you say, and I think that's what they're trying to do. So I'll let you explain it because I don't even know.
You can show the comments and go ahead and read them out loud, and I'll give my rebuttal.
All right. So Anthony starts off with says, how about you speak on the BS you talk about, Austin? Okay. Curtis says, so Austin, was Schwartz impact important or not? Anthony then comes back and says, Austin, why are you talking? Well, he's the host of the show. That's why he's talking. You're constantly wrong, but never man enough to admit that's why you are who you are. Wow, some personal shots.
Anthony's getting very personal. Yeah,
all caps, Anthony.
Uh-huh.
Austin, you said Schwartz wasn't a big deal. Explain. So these are starred comments. Then there are some other super chats. I don't know if any of the other super chats have to do with Schwartz, so we'll read those later. But those are the starred comments on, I guess, what you said about Schwartz last week.
I didn't think Jim Schwartz being a part of the Titans staff the last 2 years was going to do anything different than what Myles Garrett was going to do by himself. Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks yesterday because he's Myles Garrett. Jim Schwartz does nothing to scheme up Myles Garrett whooping Andre Dillard's ass. That has nothing to do. Like, the only thing that Jim Schwartz did was go viral by taking Myles Garrett and motioning a defensive player from the right side, the left side, the left side, the right side, and watching 2 Titans tight ends follow him like the defense. That was a Jim Schwartz playing a joke on Mike Vrabel. That was Jim Schwartz's best moment yesterday. Other than that, the Browns defense is phenomenal. The Titans offensive line sucks.
Who's the defensive coordinator of that phenomenal defense?
No, I understand that, but everybody.
I think you're going to lose.
No, I'm not because But Zach, you weren't on the tail end of last week's show. There was a lot of chatter around Titans media of, oh man, Jim Schwartz was on the Titans staff. How he's going to know everything they're going to do, right?
He did.
But he didn't. The Browns defense was already good. Myles Garrett and
who's the coordinator?
Hold on, Zach, time out. Jim Schwartz, the Browns defense was good last year without Jim Schwartz. He's a good defensive coordinator. I'm not taking that away from him. My point is the Titans offensive line is awful. And regardless of who the D coordinator is, Myles Garrett and the Browns defense is going to eat against the Titans' offensive line, regardless of what play call they have, or regardless of what Jim Schwartz knows about the Titans.
I think you're losing this one.
But Zach, who is the holdover from the offensive coaching staff when Jim Schwartz was in the building last? Who is in the same coaching position that on offense for the Titans coaching staff when Jim Schwartz was in the building too? They moved everybody around. Rob Moore, that's the answer. Rob Moore is in the same spot that he was last year when Jim Schwartz was in the building. And they've changed the offense.
No. Hey, no. Wrong, Austin. How many points did they score yesterday?
3.
They didn't change the offense.
No.
So stop that. No. I cannot let you get away with that. You can sit there and say they changed the offense. Austin, they can't score 30 points. They're the same mother effing offense that they've always been. I cannot sit here and listen to that. I do think that Jim Schwartz made an impact yesterday, and he disrupted the entire offensive scheme. He did exactly what the Cleveland Browns planned to do before the ball was snapped.
Right.
So I think you're backing up like Deion did against Oregon, because that's bad. I think you take the loss and you realize, because honestly, that's what I thought. They noted in the broadcast numerous times about Jim Schwartz and how well the defense. He's got like a top 3 defense.
Zach, that's not my point though. Like I
know you don't have a very good point.
No, I do. Because Zach, time out. Let me say what I will repeat what I said on Thursday when me and Jack had this conversation. Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. The Browns defense is very talented, fast, and a very good defense. I said the Titans offense is going to struggle on Sunday versus the Browns, but it doesn't have anything to do with Jim Schwartz being in the building with the Titans the last 2 years. That's going to happen regardless.
The offense is not different.
Yes, it is. The result is not different, but how they got there is different. Zach, the offense is different.
The notion that everybody is saying, though, is that Jim Schwartz was familiar with the scheme, with the players.
Different. The players are different.
Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are not different. Those are the 2 key pieces in the offense. And we know that the only way that the Titans win is if Derrick Henry gets going. They shut that down to start. They forced Ryan Tannehill to pass, and he was unable to do that. You're getting the same result.
Timeout.
Schwartz benefits off of the players that he coaches. I don't think anybody is debating that, but he impacted that game.
No, what he did because he's a good defensive coordinator.
That's the point. You said that he wouldn't.
No, I said, damn it. Come on. Listen to what I'm saying, please. I said that just because Jim Schwartz was in the building doesn't mean he's got a leg up on the Titans. You just said he knows that you got to stop Derrick Henry. Who doesn't? Everybody watching this show knows that.
He has been close to the situation. He's been in the building.
So?
What do you mean so? They got blown out.
Yes.
Austin, that was one of the worst offensive performances that Ryan Tannehill has ever had.
Right.
The offense has ever had.
Agreed.
And Mike Vrabel has ever been a part of.
But my point, here's my point though. Yeah, all of that is true. The what the Titans put on the field that's true. It was terrible. But they didn't do that. That wasn't the result because Jim Schwartz was a Titans assistant the last 2 years.
It definitely impacted.
No.
You're delusional. You're not going to win this. I think the chat is sitting here telling you that you're delusional.
Okay.
You can believe what you want to believe, but the facts are
that was going to happen regardless. All right. So let's get to some more super chats because we actually haven't read any super chats yet. But I will go ahead and send Zach, if you want to get to some super chats.
You got the super chats.
All right. So Noah says the tape is out on Tannehill. Stack the box, take away the run, and put guys deep over the top. Make Tannehill play the short, quick game, a major weakness. Yeah, I mean,
that's been the case for 4 years. And what Noah just said, that's it. Boom. That's a great super chat right there.
It is a good super chat, but again, like I also look and see when the Titans have had an offensive line, that it's been the opposite of that. The Titans have done a good job when they've had an offensive line. Ryan Tannehill's done a good job.
Anybody.
I know, but like,
right?
But
that is the cat and mouse game of the National Football League, Austin. You know that, and I know that.
But
if the offensive line versus defensive line, and defensive line have got some really good pass rushers, 2 that were featured last night, even in Sunday Night Football. They're peppered all over the league, right? And Myles Garrett, will give him his credit. Myles Garrett is a top 5 pass rusher. He may be top 3. That's all debatable, but they're all throughout the league. And that is what that's the only way to push back against a good pass rush is a good offensive line. They're hard to find.
And they haven't had one for the last 20 regular season games. And you can argue maybe even longer. Darren says those 3 points in my book don't even count. They got the ball already in the red zone. Yeah. And they lost 9 yards.
Another great super chat from Darren right there.
Yep. Agreed. The Bears says as good as Spears could be, drafting Darnell Washington, AKA the 6th lineman, looks like the more needed pick that the Titans passed up. Yep. The tight end out of Georgia. Would he be better than Trayvon Wesco? Because Trayvon Wesco got blown up a few times yesterday too.
He's having a bad year.
Yeah. So more super chats flying here. Andre says it starts with Vrabel, horrible choices, bad OC DC. Neither can adapt. Sick of his buddies being content with subpar players. Cornerback's been bad for years. Shake my you-know-what head. Andre feeling it right there. Curtis comes in and says, y'all blaming the O-line is cool, makes sense, but a rookie with a low S2 score found a way to overcome a bad O-line, talking about CJ Stroud. But the Jags defense is not exactly great. So look, and I haven't watched a second of that game, but
the Titans will play the Texans twice. So, and Stroud is going to continuously get better. That's pretty interesting to see how the Texans are going to shake out. That was a big win for them yesterday.
Yeah. Let's see. Noah comes back. Austin, when you have a statue QB, you have to have the best O-line in the league. Pass rushers are too good now. You basically need a short, quick game to combat that. It's Ryan Tannehill's big weakness. Look, Noah's kind of doubled down on the same thing. We can talk more Tannehill tomorrow, I think, but Tom Brady won off of the short, quick game, and they had the right receiving core to do that in New England. And then they had the bigger bodies, but also the quick guys in Tampa when he won a Super Bowl too, Zach, right? And I think that's where the Titans don't have the quick short game receivers like they probably should. Kyle Phillips is still on IR.
It goes back to the scheme. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the problem and the solution at the same time. And that's where it's very difficult I'm not sitting here saying that Tim Kelly is a terrible person or a terrible offensive coordinator, or even the offensive coordinators before. But we've talked about all of the things that you have to have when you have Derrick Henry, and they have to kind of go perfect. They have to go, just right. We saw when they beat the Chargers, they were effective. And I think that if the Titans don't get big plays down the field and their wide receivers like Treylon Burks or Chris Moore or DeAndre Hopkins aren't catching those big chunk plays, I think the Titans are going to lose consistently. And they got to scheme that up.
Being under center with an eye back is hard to do a short, quick game passing, So my guy side just gives us a $1.99 little sticker there. And my guy side comes back with a super chat. Tim Kelly is terrible. O-line is terrible. Tannehill is the terrible Tennessee statue. Need a spark. And I think the spark is a Malik Willis deal. I'm not sure exactly. But there's something brewing there on social media.
Let's talk about this real quick. And then we got Dillard.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming, guys. All right. Here is the script of what is going to occur, whether we like it or not. If the Titans continue to lose, there will be a controversy, and it will start at the quarterback position because you'll have to make some business decisions of, Is it now time to figure out who you have over the last 2 years of drafting at that position? We are not there yet, though. Okay.
Yeah.
It is 3 games. Let's not be premature. Ryan Tannehill is the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. He should continue to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. But there will come a time, if this keeps up and they keep going 2 for 12 on third down and not scoring offensive touchdowns, that you're going to make a sacrifice for the season. The other thing that influences that, and we just mentioned it, the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because ultimately, it's going to come down to you just trying to win your division.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to worry about any of the other probably wildcard teams. I don't know how it's going to shake out because it's so early.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. But
For sure.
That's the big decision from Mike Vrabel that is on the horizon if this offensive production or lack thereof continues.
Yeah, Connor, I agree with Connor's comment, and this is something that I really want to talk more about tomorrow. There are teams with bad lines but still get above average QB play. Ryan Tannehill, not completely to blame, but he needs to extend plays. This is on the OC too, and I want to earmark this. I'm going to take a screenshot of it so I can have it on my computer so we can have a deeper conversation about that, because I do think there's several ways that Tim Kelly can help out his quarterback, and his quarterback needs to help Tim Kelly out. Kane says the O-line was the issue, period. Multiple passes didn't even connect because of the pressure. This team will never have success with this glaring weakness. I don't think anybody can really disagree about that. Kick it to the King says CBS second half points graphic from Vrabel Titans was really get to the fourth quarter. What the heck was that about? This loss is on Vrabel. Yeah, I mean, tough. Andre Bunton says, this is why I love Austin and Zach together, because of that Jim Schwartz conversation. And witty banter says, sorry, Zach, it's week 3 in September. This O-line still has more than enough time to gel. I expect the Titans to finish 11-6. Titans fans overreacting. Now, that's a hell of a super chat to end on.
I think you had something going until 11-6.
Yeah.
The hay is not out of the barn, right? I'm not sitting here saying that the Titans are dead. It's week 3. They're 1-2. They look, we'll find out what the Bengals are tonight to see if they're worth anything. They play and host them next week. They haven't played a divisional game yet. Like there's plenty of football left. But I think where we are reacting to is the Titans offense has the same problems that we've seen them lose so many games with, right? Not being able to score, not being able to move the football, being really bad at third down, taking Derrick Henry off the field, relying on your passing game, getting sacked 5 times, letting a person like Myles Garrett or Chandler Jones terrorize your day. Like that's what I'm saying is that the problem, the main core problem of why the Titans lose is still there. And it's the same. It's not just radically changing and maneuvering and moving. And so 11-6, I think is that's a tough. I'll bet you money that they don't finish 11-6, but it still doesn't mean that they can't get right. And to quote Mike Vrabel, because Mike Vrabel is very good at getting his players to buy in, it's a long season.
Yep.
One game does not define you, especially an NFC loss to start the season. They lost to the NFC team in the New York Giants last year, and they had a chance to make the playoffs at the end of the year, right? Yep. The Browns thing doesn't help because it's an AFC team, but it's not detrimental.
Yeah, I want to get to the super chat because Titans in Truth gave it, but it's about the Schwartz thing. So I just want to recognize it, but not, we've already covered it. Schwartz was ready. He not only affected the Titans offense, but knew how to attack the defense too. Look,
that's
Titans,
how I felt.
The Titans had nothing going there. So Zach, I'm going to play this video from Andre Dillard, and we're going to talk about Andre Dillard. He deserves his own segment, but Buck Rising and the Titans media caught up with Andre Dillard after Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks in that game against the Titans yesterday. Here was the Titans left tackle.
Yeah, it's never an easy thing. You got a lot of good players around the league, and this team has had some really good guys on there. But third and long, they're going to be coming and bringing in pressures, and we just got to do better as a unit. I got to do better as an individual, and to sit down those pressures and those defenders.
Obviously, Myles Garrett, one of the better players in the league. What was happening there as far as your matchups with him?
I think I just need to do better with my hands and my sets and all that stuff. I talked to him after the game, and he told me his inputs, because I'm just trying to get better, and so he kind of told me what he saw, what he liked about my game, and what I could have done differently. So.
Do you appreciate that kind of constructive criticism?
I definitely do, yeah. Especially from a player as good as him, and it's cool to see it from his perspective.
For you, after a performance.
There's Andre Dillard there, talking about how Myles Garrett gave him coaching tips after the game. Like, I whipped your ass. Here's how I did it. Here's how you can avoid that the next time. Sam wrote in his column that he's like one of those white hat hackers that goes in and just purposely hacks your system and then reports back on how he did it so you can fix it the next time. I mean, he basically treated Andre Dillard like he was a big lab with a squeaky toy on the field Sunday. So I want to ask this question to everybody. How do you feel about Andre Dillard taking coaching tips from Myles Garrett after the game? How do you feel about this? Because this is your left tackle who gave up 3 sacks against the Chargers. I'm not sure how many he'll officially be credited with of Myles Garrett's 3.5 yesterday against the Browns. But how do you feel about your left tackle taking coaching tips from the guy that dominated him for the entire game? We'll get to those comments here in a second. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute, they can take care of you whenever the injury happens in life. Injuries are always a major inconvenience. Nobody wants to get hurt, but life throws you curveballs and you have to figure out how can you get back from it. If you've got any type of pain from any type of injury, maybe it's an old injury that you had back in the day when you were playing sports in high school or rec sports, or maybe your son or daughter gets hurt playing youth sports, the Bone and Joint Institute is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and they have all the experts under one roof, and they can help you out from every step of the injury and recovery process. So don't fumble on your recovery. Go to the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin or online, boneandjointtn.org.
AZ Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app. As I've mentioned, we got a couple of NFL games tonight you can bet on. Bonus code ATOZ Sports. They're the king of sports books. Up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's for new users. But if you're a new user, you got to use the bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so how do you feel about Myles Garrett giving Andre Dillard coaching tips after the game where Garrett has 3.5 sacks and Dillard is giving up a ton of pressure in his 3 games as a Titan? So I'm going to go through the chat. Wilbur says that Myles Garrett little broed him. And then JR says, I don't care personally because he's not improving regardless. Let's see. Mike says, I love it. Advice from Garrett will go a long way. Blast fan also says something similar, that any tips from Myles is a blessing. Deshaun says it's sad. Curtis C says it's positive, but shows that Dillard has no ego. Jags Guy Jew says he just wants to get better, but yeah, that's embarrassing. He told everyone. Dre says it makes him mad. Jay says it's a good thing. Knowledge is power. David says absolutely fine. It happens all the time in sports. I, as a coach, have asked opposing coaches what they saw. So yeah, obviously, you trade tape, you trade things like that. But Zach, how do you feel about that back and forth that Dillard kind of showed us in that press conference or that post-game availability?
So Myles Garrett is better than Andre Dillard, correct?
Yeah.
We knew that before the game started. We knew that after the game started. So there's no surprise. Myles Garrett is a top 3 to 5 pass rusher in this league, which is one of the 4 most important positions in the game of football. So it was going to be an uphill climb. Andre Dillard probably shouldn't have told the media about that. He probably could have kept his mouth shut, but I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes when you get beat and the other guy is better than you, he was better than you when you woke up, and he's going to be better than you when you go to sleep. And I don't think Andre Dillard was asking him about advice. How do I block you better? How do I, get inside?
We don't know. I mean, we don't know. Like, but there could have been because players who go up against each other.
Maybe once the conversation started, I don't know. But look, next year, Andre Dillard is still going to be worse than Myles Garrett. In 5 years, it's the same. So if a great player is telling you something for advice, listen. So I don't have a problem with it. He probably shouldn't have told the media, but it just confirmed what we already knew. He played a really bad game. He's not as good as Myles Garrett. He never will be. And if Garrett can give him some pointers that can help him against, guys that they're going to play in the future, maybe that helps Andre Dillard get a little bit better, but he's never going to be better than the premier pass rushers in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that, yes, players have conversations like this after the game, and Myles Garrett, giving Andre Dillard can only help. It can't necessarily hurt. Kane with a super chat said, if you can gain success by a failure, what is wrong with becoming successful by it, learning from it, better advice from an opponent than a teammate? Kane, I agree with you. And so I think I would probably feel more like you, Zach, and okay with it more comfortably if I didn't watch Andre Dillard through all these training camp practices of him just getting bull rushed, swum, spun, all these type dipped and ripped from Arden Key up and down the field all month of July and August, and for it to not get better. I think Andre Dillard is a problem, and the energy that he gives off when he talks about that makes me feel like the Titans are going to be searching for a left tackle replacement fairly soon. And by fairly soon, I mean like NPF comes back from suspension later this month. And I think that's kind of Andre Dillard's timeline to figure it out. Because if Andre Dillard doesn't have it figured out better than what he's shown the first 3 weeks, by the time NPF comes back, now the Titans have more options on the offense.
What are they going to do?
Well, and there's a lot of like ifs and domino effects to this, right? Because we've already said this show, Peter Skoronski is the best Titans offensive lineman they have. And he's played one game. Now he has an appendectomy. There was a procedure for that. How quickly does he recover? We've both talked about having the people that we know that have gone through that. Sam's had an appendectomy, tried to pitch through it and had his stitches start bleeding when he was doing that, right? Peter Skoronski's not just going to be back against the Bengals 2 weeks after an appendectomy surgery. That's usually not how that medicine and that procedure works. So when can he come back and how does he come back after not being able to do stuff for a couple weeks? That's interesting. Dylan Radins is a flexible piece who has looked better the last couple of weeks than he had previously in his career. Chris Hubbard, I think, has done an admirable job as a journeyman 31-year-old right tackle filling in for the suspended NPF. So my thought is, after NPF comes back, Skoronski should have about a month and a half off of his appendectomy. Chris Hubbard's got experience and work done. Now you have Radins back for a month and a half too. I think you've got 3 linemen plus NPF who can help you shuffle some things around. Because Andre Dillard's bad. And I don't care what Myles Garrett told him. I don't think he's going to get better with the information. Because Mike Vrabel talked about how good it is for Andre Dillard and other tackles to practice against Arden Key, who can throw a bunch of different types of smoke at him from pass rush moves in training camp. And I didn't do anything.
Well, the Titans need Andre Dillard to get better. He's not going to get to Orlando Brown status. So manage your expectations.
He's on track to being worse than Dennis Daly though. Like statistically, again, I'm not even joking. That's not hyperbole. He's given up 6 sacks already. Dennis Daly gave up 12 in 12 games last year. He's on track to be worse than Dennis Daly, statistically.
And, you look at the Titans roster of who he's going to face. I mean, TJ Watt's somewhere down the line, right, on the schedule. He's going to have some tough pass rush. Shaquille Barrett versus Tampa, he's going to get his at lunch eaten.
They don't play their toughest two of their tougher defenses were going to be Saints and Browns. I think we all knew
that's
that
fair.
into,
so
right?
Those are the 2 games he didn't perform very well on. So
yeah.
Maybe
and he gave up 3 sacks against the Chargers when Joey Bosa was playing 20% of the snaps because he was hurt. And so
these are premier guys, right?
My point about Andre Dillard. This is the best way to explain how I feel about Andre Dillard. Andre Dillard is the reason why me and Sam felt the need to ask Arden Key after every practice, how many sacks did you have today? Because Arden Key would say things like 7 or 4 or 3 or, man, only 1 today. But Andre Dillard was the guy giving up all of those pressures from Arden Key. And now you're seeing that translate to where Dillard's giving up sacks. Arden Key's been fairly quiet since week 1. So whose training camp performance was closer to the reality of their player? Dillard's training camp performance was closer to his reality than Arden Key's.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Beastly says this season has. You have too many has's in there. Beast, you set me up for failure, but we do appreciate your super chat. 2017, 2019, 2021 vibe to it.
I think he meant 2018, not 2019.
There's some issues with this one, but I think we do understand.
Which means not making the playoffs. Well, 2021 they did. I don't know. There's a lot of those seasons that Beast listed are very different from each other.
Yeah. Philip says, don't mind, but sharing to the media sounds bad. I won't admit to my boys that I took advice on how to please my wife from the guy she cheated with. Whoa, Philip.
Philip takes the cake for the worst analogy on the show.
Oh, man, I don't know.
He had some good competition.
But this, I mean, yeah, this is a little deep. He did have some competition, though, with your skid mark analogy or whatever you did earlier. But I get
both analogies. Both analogies make their point very clear.
Sharing to the media does sound bad. I would have avoided that. Just keep it to yourself. That's okay, because then you make a story out of things that you don't probably need to make a story out of it. But that was pretty good, Philip.
You said his was
best
good.
Of luck to you and your family.
Oh man,
I just don't like those. I don't like those jokes. I don't think they're funny. I'm not saying it was a joke, but like that type of stuff, talking about
I got it.
Bathroom stuff.
Your comedy kryptonite is bathroom humor. You go for a bunch of different. You do not like bathroom humor. And hey, I don't know what your future human kid situation might be down the road, but I think you're gonna have to learn to be comfortable with bathroom humor at some point in your life.
Yeah, I just don't. I think it's childish, right? Like that. There's the whole point of like. I'm not saying you are childish. I'm saying the concept of bathroom humor is middle school to younger. Of like you're laughing at stuff that it's just not funny. We're grown ass men. So, but I've always been that way.
But everybody's read the book. Everybody does that. We all know that. So
I have a good sense of humor. I have a good sense of humor.
That is
just not that particular type of humor.
It is your comedy kryptonite for my alliteration, even though they're spelled differently.
That's fair.
On that one. All right. So Zach, man, let's just go ahead and flush this show and move on to the age game.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. The age game here on the show, the new age game to wrap up every Monday show. But first, Wilson County Hyundai is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. So check them out in Lebanon. Painbone and his family do a phenomenal job of making your car buying process not feel cringy, because that can happen a lot of different places. But Wilson County Hyundai in Lebanon is where to check them out. Again, family owned and operated, or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. It is now time for the age game. So far, it's been fun through a couple weeks. I've got the chat hidden, so I cannot be influenced. So, Zach, where are we going today?
We are going to go with a little Kevin Bacon action, okay? And we're going to start with what happened yesterday in Kansas City. Kansas City, the young budding love of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. You saw that. If you were awake, you had to have seen that. Both aged 33. That's not the age game question.
Dang it. I was going to nail that one.
Both are 33. And if you saw that walking through after the game, Jarrett Payton took a video of both of them. It went viral, broke the internet basically, as Kelce kind of gave that look.
Jarrett Payton, like Walter Payton's son?
Correct. That is the question. How old was Walter Payton when he passed away?
Oh.
How old was Walter Payton when he passed away? The late, great Walter Payton.
Oh, man.
And the first one to get it, we're going to wait till the comment section fills up. The first one to get it wins. So we'll list it. So when the late great Walter Payton passed away, he was blank years old, and we're going to figure out who has this knowledge. And I think this is a good question, and that's why I connected the dots, because you forget about Walter Payton a little bit because he died when he died.
I remember watching Jarrett give his Hall of Fame induction speech after he passed away. And I'm trying to remember how old I was because Jarrett at that point was in high school. And then Jarrett played for the Titans in like 2004. And so I'm going to say, when did Walter Payton stop playing? Like 91, 90, 89?
Who knows?
I'm going to say 42.
Okay. Final A to Z?
Yeah, I mean, that's my answer, 42.
All right. Let's go to the chat. Jay says 69. That is incorrect. 57 from Lou Man. That is incorrect. Eric misses at 63. Hello, ladies says 67.
No.
Steven says 68.
Wow.
Rooney says 59. Tiffany goes 62. All are incorrect.
Way off.
IR goes 61. Billy Jones goes 57. American Top goes 87. Mr. Jones 69. Let's see here. 71 from Ashley. All right, to get a little bit lower, Mark D goes 49. That is incorrect. Jay says 41. American Top goes 64. 59 from Randy. 45 from David. That is incorrect. Jason goes 34. 73 from Alex. Patrick goes 48. That is incorrect. Eric goes 45. Eddie goes 65. Those are all wrong.
Mr. Jones is just going to count to the number.
48. We do have our winner. And Austin, it is not you. 42 is incorrect, but Jay comes in here with the correct answer. Walter Payton was too young, but 46 years of age when he passed away from a unique liver cancer that unfortunately took his life.
Man.
This was, see, I've been waiting for this. We had a lot of guesses that got that wrong, but 46. So, Jay, you are this week's age game champion. Congratulations, Jay.
Man, I'm trying to remember, like, what year did he get into the Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame.
I was surprised, too. I wouldn't have gotten it. I thought 46 was super young. But he was, sweetness.
I knew it was young. I mean, at 42. When did he go in the Hall of Fame? Why is this so difficult to find here? Because he went in the Hall of Fame late. Like, why is this so hard to find? Tell me what year he went to the Hall of Fame. Dang it. Come on, Wikipedia.
Walter Payton was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
In what year?
That's what I'm looking at. It's tough. It doesn't say, even on the Hall of Fame class of 1993.
93? Okay. So what am I? Man, that's so weird. So that's fair. He was just 6 years after he retired. So he was his first, or 5, technically. So, okay. I thought it was later than that for some reason, because I remember watching it, and I don't think I was 3 years old watching that.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey, For as bad as yesterday's game was, today's show was really good, and appreciate everybody for, if you flipped over from Facebook to YouTube, we thank you guys for doing that. Hopefully we can help have Facebook figured out. But before you head out of here, make sure you like the show and subscribe, because we've got more coming to you later on today, because Mike Vrabel's press conference is coming up at 11:45 today, and Sam will be live Titans at 2 with Sam Phelan on Mondays and Thursdays right here on the same YouTube channel. So watch out for Sam. He'll be reacting to what he thought about yesterday's game, what Mike Vrabel says. So live Titans at 2 with Sam right at 2 o'clock after Mike Vrabel's press conference with Immediate today. So check that out. We'll see you guys later on. Buck Rising live tonight as well for A to Z Sports Primetime. Appreciate it as always.